Your mind is your kingdom, and like any kingdom, it can be ruled, or it can collapse into chaos. Most people live as peasants in their own heads, ruled by emotions, distracted by flatterers, enslaved by distorted appearances. They mistake reflection for reality and wonder why life feels hollow. But Machiavelli gave us the blueprint. Power belongs to those who command perception, discipline their troops, fortify against fortune, and silence deceitful counsel. The same law governs your mind. If you don't see sovereignty over it, then fear, distraction, and weakness will. Today you will learn 7 techniques forged from ruthless strategy and sharpened into mental weapons. This is not philosophy for idle minds. This is war doctrine for rulers of the self. Master these 7, and you will not merely survive, you will reign. Polish the mirror, or perish. Wipe the lens, or live a lie. That's your choice, every single day. When something goes wrong, are you reacting to reality, or are you thrashing against the filth-stained glass of your own perception? Think. A friend doesn't text you back for a few hours. Pathetic minds spiral. They're ignoring me. They're upset. I've been betrayed. A simple delay mutates into a tragedy. At work, your boss gives curt feedback. The weak don't hear. Here's something to improve. They hear, they hate me. I'm doomed. My career is over. This is cowardice masquerading as sensitivity, and it's common. Here's the brutal truth. Reality doesn't destroy you. Your childish interpretation does. The event is neutral. It's the melodrama you slap onto it that cuts you down. Clarity isn't gifted, it's earned. You must strip distortion away like rot from a blade. Most never meet reality. They meet only their bias, and bias is a treacherous ruler. A setback? They call it catastrophe, a delay. They whimper that it's rejection, a mistake. They brand it their identity. It's a carnival of warped mirrors, and they salute every twisted reflection as truth. They live as prisoners in a theater of self-deception. Machiavelli knew this. He warned rulers, men judge more by appearances than by reality. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you are. The crowd doesn't want truth. They want spectacle. The ruler who survives is the one who commands perception, not the beggar whining for fairness. Turn that lesson inward. If you do not govern the images inside your own skull, they will govern you. You'll be a subject, captive to illusions, groveling before your own hysteria. That is how weak rulers lose kingdoms. That is how undisciplined minds lose peace. Your nervous system is your court. It listens to every proclamation your mind screams. If your inner voice thunders, catastrophe, your body obeys, heart pounding, palms wet, muscles taut. But if you declare calm, if you issue orders with icy neutrality, your body falls in line. You become composed. You become sovereign. Remember this: a sovereign rules appearances. A subject is ruled by them. Internal command translates into external command. The mind that bends to clarity bends the world with it. The man who masters himself does not just gain peace. He gains leverage, authority, and control over others who cannot. So I ask you, which will you be? The ruler of your mind, calm, calculating, unshaken even in chaos, or the prisoner of distortion, dragged like a slave by the leash of bias? Polish the mirror, or perish.
Hey guys, we're Strategy, based in Abu Dhabi. We use AI tools to make these concepts come to life, but it's our amazing team who goes deep, breaking down powerful philosophical ideas and showing how they really apply in everyday life. We hope you enjoyed today's content.
Forge the blade, command the world. Forge the point, pierce the world. That is the command. Your attention is your blade. Dull, it multiplies problems. Razor sharp, it cuts them down. But look at yourself. You've trained your mind to twitch, to scatter, to kneel before every notification like a dog tugged by its leash. You can't hold a thought long enough to execute power. Every ping owns you. Every distraction chains you. This is not focus. This is servitude. Machiavelli saw the same weakness in rulers who leaned on mercenaries. He spat on them. He knew mercenary forces, undisciplined, disloyal, hungry for coin, always crumble when pressure mounts. And isn't that your attention today? A pack of mercenaries, rented out to whatever app alert or cheap thrill pays in novelty. When clarity is demanded, those hired guns abandon you. The prince was explicit. Only rulers who command their own armies endure. Disciplined, loyal, trained. So it is with you. Unless you build your own internal troops, your focus, you will be ruled by invaders. And when the enemy strikes, you will break. Borrowed willpower is no different. It is mercenary labor. You bribe your mind with caffeine. You whip it with panic. You beg it with looming deadlines. That kind of focus arrives late and deserts early. It cannot be trusted. But own your forces, drill your attention daily, and you will carry an army in your skull, an army that obeys no flag but yours. This is how you reclaim sovereignty over your attention, not rented to mercenaries, not borrowed from stimulants, but oni. This is how you reclaim sovereignty over your attention, not rented to mercenaries, not borrowed from stimulants, but owned, disciplined, weaponized. Understand, the man who owns his focus owns his fate. He bends time to his will. He commands outcomes others call luck. He dominates those still shackled to distraction. So remember the maxim, never rent your attention to mercenaries. Weaponize it under your flag. Now answer this. Are you drilling a loyal army inside your mind? Or are you still ruled by deserters who will betray you the moment you need them most? Seize yourself or be shattered. Get behind the mirror. Seize yourself. That is the order. Presence is not incense. It is not soft meditation music. Presence is command. Your attention is an army. If you walk in front of it like prey, you will be hunted. Step behind your thoughts, and you stop being bait. You stop being dragged by every passing surge of fear, anger, or lust. You become the commander. You give the orders. Look at how most people live. They bicker with reflections. They wrestle shadows. They rehearse betrayals that never happened, then call the reruns experience pitiful. They cling to ghost stories as if that stale theater were life itself. And when the curtain drops, they are shocked, lost, hollow. They spent their courage on hallucinations while reality robbed them blind. That is cowardice dressed as concern, small, nervous, forever ambushed by events it summoned. Machiavelli called this surrender to fortune. Fortune, the river that floods. Virtù, the ironcraft of character. The weak pray the river will be kind. The strong build levees and raise cities. Fail to step behind the mirror, fail to act with virtù, and the flood will drown you. No excuses. Presence is not serenity. Presence is leverage. Master yourself, and others obey without realizing why. You become the levee that channels chaos. They see your steadiness, and they bend. They trust your voice. They follow your lead. They submit to your timing. The man who rules himself doesn't merely endure storms, he redirects them into conquest. Step behind the mirror, and you do not simply preserve calm. You engineer outcomes. People weigh you, and they find steel. They follow the one who does not flinch. Fortune still floods, but you decide where the waters break. That is control. That is power. And power bends events and people to your design. So answer without lies. Are you still living in rehearsals and reflections? Or will you step behind the mirror, seize yourself, and build the levees that let you rule? Rule the mask, or be ruled by it. That is the law. The world doesn't care about your essence. It doesn't care what your soul whispers in the dark. It only bends to the mask you wear in daylight. And here's the brutal truth. Your own mind works the same way. It doesn't kneel to reality. It kneels to appearances, to the surface. Here is where the weak collapse. They believe their feelings are reality. Pathetic. They let anxiety paint the world as dangerous. They let rejection convince them they are hated. They confuse their masks for truth. And like fools, they follow them blindly into ruin. Machiavelli knew better. He wrote that a prince must seem merciful, faithful, humane, upright, and religious, even if behind the curtain he was none of these things. Why? Because people obey appearances, not facts. A ruler who fails to command appearances loses power, no matter how noble his intent. That is why the wise prince masters the mask. He projects what others need to see, while maneuvering in shadows with cold precision. Now take this law into your own life. Your nervous system is your crowd. It obeys appearances. Wear the mask of doom, and your body trembles as if catastrophe is real. Racing heart, tight muscles, panic spirals. But shift the mask. Frame stress as challenge. Suddenly your pulse steadies, your focus sharpens, energy surges. Command the mask, and you command the body. What would Machiavelli do? He would never let masks choose themselves. He would forge them with intent. He would know that the one who commands appearances commands both people and self, and he would wield that power without hesitation. Remember this maxim: command the mask, and both the world and yourself will kneel. So answer me, are you a slave, wearing masks handed to you by every weak emotion? Or are you the prince, commanding the mask as a weapon, bending both your court and your nervous system to your will? That choice decides whether you rule or get ruled. Fear weakness, not discomfort. What do you fear more, the sting of trying and failing, or the lifelong chains of regret? Machiavelli saw the world with ruthless clarity. He declared it safer to be feared than loved. Why? Because love is fickle. It bends with convenience, with moods, with shifting winds. Fear, however, anchors loyalty. It commands. And this law is not just for rulers. It is for you. Within your own mind, fear of wasted potential is a harder master than the fleeting comfort of self-love. Look at yourself. Be honest. Do you seek comfort? Do you grovel for approval, social media likes, polite applause at work, the empty pat from your own inner voice? That is weakness masquerading as virtue. It means you only move when others push you. You're a pawn to distraction, a slave to comfort. And as Machiavelli would sneer, a ruler who leans only on love is not ruling. He is ruled. Picture the prince who rests his throne on love. The instant fortune turns, his people scatter. Love evaporates at the first inconvenience. But the prince who instills disciplined fear does not bend. He endures. Likewise, comfort will betray you the moment life grows hard. But fear, the fear of regret, of mediocrity, of dying unseen, will keep you sharp, relentless, and dangerous. So what does this mean for you? Do not fear discomfort. Discomfort is a passing sting. Fear mediocrity. Fear waking up in 10 years chained to the life of a coward because you bartered greatness for convenience. Let that fear become your weapon. Imagine yourself in old age. Will you despise the hours you wasted scrolling, hesitating, pleasing others instead of commanding yourself? That is the fear worth cultivating. A Machiavellian does not bow to comfort. He trains through hardship, cold showers, fasting, silence. Not because pain is noble, but because every act of controlled suffering is a declaration of sovereignty. I rule here. He inscribes his warning daily. If I waste today, what will it cost me in 10 years? He inverts comfort into a test. Every time ease whispers, he asks, does this build my empire or drain it? If it drains, he kills it without mercy. Machiavelli would not beg for likes. He would not hide in cushions of sympathy. He would build systems of voluntary discomfort, not because he loved pain, but because he understood necessity drives action, luxury rots it. He would weaponize fear of regret until it sharpened every decision. At work, he would seize the hardest task first. In society, he would demand respect over popularity. In private, he would drill his body and mind as if weakness were a treacherous rebel plotting inside his gates. The law is merciless. Fear your weakness, not your discomfort. Rule yourself with fear, and softness will never rule you. Self-discipline is not private, it is political. Conquer your inner coward, and you will conquer men. Dominate your weakness, and you will dominate the world. Disarm distraction, arm discipline. Tell me, whose weapons do you fight with each day? Yours or borrowed? Machiavelli was mercilessly clear. A prince who relies on the arms of others is already defeated. Mercenaries abandon the fight the moment blood spills. Auxiliaries, the borrowed forces of allies, turn against you when you least expect it. Only a ruler's own soldiers keep him safe. For you, those soldiers are habits, rituals, discipline. If they are not yours, they are not loyal. Look at yourself. Be honest. How often do you lean on caffeine to wake up? Deadlines to whip you into action? Other people's energy to inspire you? Pathetic. These are mercenaries. They fight for you only when conditions are perfect. The moment fatigue arrives, the moment stress presses in, they desert you. And you collapse. Defenseless, unarmed. A distracted, untrained mind is no better than a rented army. It parades well in peace but scatters in war. Just as a prince cannot trust soldiers bought with coin, you cannot trust strength borrowed from stimulants, praise, or pressure. That kind of focus is treasonous. It will betray you the instant you need it most. The answer is brutal but simple. Stop outsourcing your strength. Build your own regiments. Arm yourself. Not with swords, but with systems. Not with shields, but with rituals. Not with mercenaries, but with loyal forces drilled into you. Because when you own your arms, you command more than yourself. You command others. The man who does not need caffeine or applause unnerves the weak. His steadiness is a weapon. His independence is a signal of power. People bend toward the man who requires nothing from them to act. That is why internal discipline becomes external domination. This is what Machiavelli would do. He would construct discipline as a fortress, brick by brick. He would trust no mercenary, no stimulant, no applause, no borrowed spark. At work, he would wield systems immune to luck. In society, he would project power by showing he needs nothing from others. In solitude, he would forge his mind into a weapon fit for any battlefield. Because the ruler with his own arms fears no rebellion, and the man, armed with discipline, fears no chaos. Silence them or serve them. Silence the whispers, or be ruled by them. That is the decree. Tell me, whose voice commands you more often? The one that challenges you, or the one that coddles you? Machiavelli gave the warning without mercy. Princes who surround themselves with flatterers are doomed. Flattery is poison, sweet on the tongue, rotten in the bones, and your mind is no different. It flatters you daily. It whispers, you'll start tomorrow. You deserve a break. This distraction doesn't matter. These are not comforts. They are betrayals, daggers wrapped in silk. How many times have you fallen to this treachery? How many times has your own mind convinced you that skipping one workout, delaying one task, wasting 1 hour doesn't matter? Pathetic. These whispers aren't harmless. They are assassins inside your palace walls. They do not wound loudly. They rot quietly. And the man who obeys them becomes a puppet, ruled not by strength, but by self-deception. Machiavelli counseled rulers to exile flatterers and allow only a few advisors to speak truth. Why? Because illusion destroys power faster than any open enemy. A prince who listens to lies signs his own death warrant. A man who entertains flattering thoughts is no different. He wears the crown, but his kingdom belongs to weakness. Your court is your inner dialogue, every thought an advisor. If your court is filled with flatterers, your reign is over before it begins. But if you exile the liars and enthrone truth, your command becomes absolute. Because the man who tolerates no deception within himself cannot be deceived by others, and the man who surrounds himself with truth becomes untouchable. Respect follows him. Influence bends toward him. He is trusted because he cannot be fooled, even by himself. Picture two men. One fills his court with soft voices. Every thought soothes. Every companion nods. He collapses into mediocrity. The other hunts truth like a weapon. He journals until every lie is butchered. He keeps only advisors who cut. His mind becomes a fortress, his kingdom iron. Which man rules? Which man dies a fool? Machiavelli would choose ruthlessness. At work, he would demand advisors who strike with facts. In society, he would cultivate respect, never cheap praise. In solitude, he would slice down flattering thoughts before they draw breath. He would tolerate no liar, inner or outer, because the mind that banishes flatterers rules itself, and the mind that entertains them dies in disgrace.
Thanks for spending time with us. If this sparked a new way of thinking, hit like and subscribe to keep the ideas flowing. And don't forget, check the description for the links to the original books and resources we used today. We'll see you in the next one.